3 weeks just flies right by, doesn't it? This, I kind of figured this vlog series wasn't gonna get that much traction right now, while I'm doing these. Like, a few of them have gotten, like, a couple of, like, more views than I expected, and, I mean, then that's kind of obvious. The reaction videos I've been doing in this time as well, I did them mainly because, they were coming out during this series, and I figured why the heck not, give it a shot and see what happens, and one of them caught fire, at least, so that's good. But I'm still gonna continue with some Owl House content. Like, I might post a video of, like, a theory, or maybe just some Owl House clips, just for fun. Just to help entertain and just keep things going for the fan base, because, like I said, I really this first season isn't perfect. I mean, really, no show has a season that's perfect. But I really enjoyed this first season of The Owl House. I can't wait for season 2. By the sounds of it, it's gonna come out in the summer. I mean, we never know with everything going on. But by the looks of it, from what I've been seeing online, summer seems to be the current gap that the Owl House will fill for Disney. So summer can't come any sooner. um, in terms of what I'll be doing after this, I don't know if I'll be doing a vlog series of another show unless it's requested. You never know. Um, okay, sorry about that. I had to handle something real quick. Okay, so this is as I was saying, I'll do more reaction videos when stuff comes out. I'll do a review of WandaVision when the season when the final episode airs in 2 weeks, or a week from Friday, I should say. Yeah, a week from Friday. I'll also do a review of Raya and the Last Dragon. I don't know if I'll be able to do that right on the day the movie comes out, or within the week. We'll see. And then arguing whether or not I do a series with Falcon and Winter Soldier in terms of, like, actually reacting to them, but again, we'll figure it out when we get to it. So right now, this is the Owl House. This is episode 19, the season 1 finale, Young Blood, Old Souls. Really good title. Yeah, okay, yeah. So in terms of how good this episode is, it's a good episode. I mean, for what it has to do, for what it was given, and for what it has to set up for the second season, I thought it was really good. I felt like maybe it's weird because there were times where it was felt a little bit slow pace, and then there were times where they kind of had to go through it, and not to mention just the fact that you have your main character going up against the main villain in the season 1 finale. It's like that's you got to figure out how to get around that in a way. So they had to kind of do that. But I've seen videos online of, like, people saying the finale was like, like, or meh or stuff. I don't think it's terrible. I mean, I like this episode. I really like what goes down in the episode, and I wouldn't consider it as one of my favorites in terms of what. Well, actually, no. Actually, it's complicated. Let's go through it. So we're thrown right into this episode. Like, the second, like, it starts off with King reading to Luce the history of the Boiling Isles, and how it was from the remains of a Titan, and it's the source of all magic in the demon realm. And according to, or at least for the Boiling Isles, I still think there's more than just the Boiling Isles. I mean, there's gotta be, right? You got an entire world, right? So, but it's the source of the magic. So King talked about how for centuries, or I think it was for centuries, that people were using magic freely, because and pretty much like Ida did, but then Emperor Bellos somehow, like, there is, like, they don't say where he came from and what exactly he is. All they know is that he claims that he can speak to the Titan, and that the Titan was saying that they were using magic all wrong, and so they had to do the Coven system. And then from that, he became the Emperor and pretty much took over in a sense. So obviously, with all that, this line I definitely found interesting. Knowledge restricted, magic sealed away. It kind of, yeah, it's like kind of got me thinking about the first Luce episode 13, Luce, the first day, like when Luce goes to Hexside, and they're like saying only you can only, oh no, you can only study one of these tracks because, you know, the Coven system and all that. And so it's interesting to think that your knowledge of magic is also limited. I Kind of weird. So Luce Luce obviously, you know, she with everything going on and the fact that she technically was the reason Ida got captured, she wants to make up for it, and so she dons the cape that Ida made for her and plans to go after Ida and try and save her, even though King is like, you're going up against the most powerful witch in the Blowing House, you know that. But yeah, they don't mess around. Like, there's no intro either. It's like they just cut right to it. It's and while Luce and King are getting ready to go to figure out how to get into find out where Ida is and stuff like that. At the Emperor's Castle, Ida and Lilith and Bellos have a moment. So Ida's in the beast form, obviously, so she's kind of running amok. But Lilith is able to round her up, but then Bellos shows up, and then of course that angers the beast more, and so it's interesting to see that the beast has its own personality too. Like Lilith's like, come on, this is for your own good. We'll be one big happy, and the just the beast just like sticks just like at it, does the and then Lilith's like, nope, I'm no okay. So Bellos traps it after it tries to break out, and then we get to see his staff, which is it's very technological as well. Like the way he whips it out, it just like all this, like everything kind of folds out machine like, and then there's this red orb that kind of looks technologically advanced as well, and then he blasts Ida with it, and he's able to bring out her person, or like so it's Ida, but she's in the form of the beast, and so she's like, oh great. So Bellos is obviously very, very, very calm with everything, because he's like, yeah, we finally caught Ida the Owl Lady, apprentice, or mentor, or yeah, or I don't. Well, he talks about Luce too, like obviously throwing that like we know about Luce, we know about her, all that, you know, basically getting to Ida, because the second like Luce is brought up, Ida's like, hey, you don't touch her, she's got nothing to do with all this. And so Bellos Bellos then reveals what his plan was with Ida, and that he wanted the portal that she has. And so nothing can good come for that, right? Like Ida says that she won't give it to him, and so Bellos then says, okay, well, if you won't, then we'll see what your human says. So he carries Ida off, and Lilith at first is like, oh, you're taking her to the healing room to lift her of her curse? And I'm like, come on. So yeah, big shock. Bellos isn't coming through on the promise of curing Ida. He claims that it's the Titan's will, and that Ida's just she's pointless in all this. So he's basically like one less wild witch out there, and I'm like, okay. But again, I'm like thinking, why did Lilith I get it. I mean, from an audience point of view, you're like, this dude is bull crapping all the way through. But I guess Lilith is the head of the coven, so of course she would be loyal to him, so she would trust him. But he's like, wild witches must be dealt with before the Day of Unity. That's a thing that's been said about it. And the Day of Unity, and from all I can imagine, is kind of like what happened in Legend of Korra. You know, like the planets align, allowing portal and portals open up, and maybe or something like that. That's what I imagine what this is gonna be. And he wants the portal to obviously go into the human world, I imagine, and so to invade, to unite, who knows what, because we don't really know at this point. But so Luce, meanwhile, Luce is in Bonesborough, and she's sneaking around trying to figure out what to do, and then she sees on a crystal ball, which is basically the equivalent of a television, that it's a newscast, and that Ida is going to be publicly petrified. it's I mean, you can't do a. You can. This is a kid show, so you can't do an execution. But still, petrification is pretty messed up. And this time around, when I saw it, I saw on the new. I noticed on the tag it said first petrification in 30 years. So I'm wondering what. Maybe that's a significant thing. Like, who was petrified 30 years ago? Does it have anything to do with Ida and Lilith? I'm just throwing out theories and stuff, because yeah. So Luce obviously seeing this, she gets angry, and she's like, she doesn't deserve a petrification, and of course she gets her anger. She pretty much takes her anger out on Lilith. Like every time she sees like a poster of Lilith, or like her name is popped up, or Lilith's name is mentioned, like she just gets angry, and just like you see that fury in her eyes, and so they get caught in probably the most ridiculous way I can imagine. So they're like, the only way to get to Ida is we have to get caught in, thrown into the conformatorium. So we have to do something crazy, ridiculous, sinister. And so what do? They walk on the grass where there's a sign that says "Don't walk on the grass." And the way I love how the guard, so a guard comes by, and then Luce and King are like, hey, and then the guard turns around, and then they see the no walking on the grass sign, or standing on the grass, and then Luce and King are like, what? So they get caught, they thrown into the carriage, and they're taken to the conformatorium, all according to plan. And when they get, as they're going through the conformatorium, they see all the past petrificated people. It's a few of them are very. It's interesting because, King said once one is completely petrified, there is no way they can be under-petrified, and so they are statues. So it's very creepy to see them. Some of them, especially, some of them are petrified both literally and figuratively, and a few of them are hidden, like their faces are not revealed. Again, maybe fun little Easter eggs or possible storylines down the road. But Luce with the warden comes back, and he's like, finally we caught Ida's little human. And then Luce she just gives no F's. Like, she breaks down the door with a plant spell. Like, the first time I saw this, I was a little confused with how she is able to conjure such powerful spells with a few of these glyphs, but my guess is she's just stacking them, because she has one where she has like 3 or 4 in hand, and she slams it. So I imagine it's like stacking. It's just stacking up the power of the spell. And so Luce just decimates the guards. Like, she doesn't kill them, but she like decimates them. She just completely embarrasses the warden, in my opinion. Like, she traps him in ice, and then literally she's like, where's Ida? And the warden just spills it. She's like, and then even like Luce is like, okay, draw me a map. And then meanwhile, outside, there's all these people from past episodes, and you know, all the citizens of Bonesborough and the Isles. They are there to witness the public petrification, and they're debating on whether or not it's right, and you know, if like Eda really deserves it, because some people are like, well, Eda helped me break out of prison. She kept my business running. Bumps was my favorite. She's like, she reminded me how much I love being a teacher. After she left. That was a good one too. So, um, meanwhile, Luce finds Eda, but she can't break her out because the chains are too powerful. I think the chains are too strong for Luce's magic to handle, and so Eda is just like, forget about me, you know, just leave. And then she gives Luce the portal and says, you have a family, go to them, and once you're there, destroy the portal. I don't want Bellos to get his hands on this. And of course, Luce is very torn with everything because you know she considers Eda and King and pretty much her family as well. And you know, you got that somber moment, and then it's interrupted by Eda being sent up to be publicly petrified, and Luce tries to hang on, but then Eda shoves her off, saying, go home. And then Lilith shows up, and she, of course, the second Luce sees Lilith, the two get into a fight. Lilith, for the most part, is just holding her at bay because she just wants to talk, and Luce isn't listening, and then it eventually causes them to go through the portal, and they end up back in the human world. We don't pretty much where the old torn down, or not worn torn down, worn house, the old creepy house that Luce went through in the first episode. Like they go through that, and they in the woods, and Luce tries to continue fighting, but her glyphs don't work now. That's probably because she's not on the Boiling Isles, so that's the source of the magic, so she can't use glyphs. But then, you know, they skirmish a little bit more, but then Eda, or, you know, Luce is like saying, Eda doesn't deserve the petrification, but you do, and Lilith's like, you're right. And then they stop fighting, and then Lilith gives Luce the whole backstory on why all this is going down. So Lilith and Eda, Lilith's the older sister of Eda, and so, but they were best friends. They were inseparable, as most cartoon siblings do. And but the thing was, Lilith may have been the older sister, but Eda was the more talented witch. So, like she worked twice as hard. She seemed to be more powerful and talented with everything. So it's kind of like Zuko and Azula from Avatar. That would be a weird story. Like it's like Zuko. But so Lilith talked about how her dream was to get into the coven, and so they never said that it was Eda's. Like all Eda wanted was to be there with her, like so to be to be with Lilith, and just shows more of the relationship that the two had. And then come their not graduation, like when they want to be in the coven, they're told that there's only one spot, as freaking usual, and they have to duel, so the winner will be in the coven. And so Lilith tells Luce that she knew that she couldn't beat Eda because Eda, like I said, is more talented, more powerful, more skilled. So she felt like that the only way she wanted, if she can get into the coven, was to go bold or make a sacrifice. As Bello stated, you have to make sacrifices in order to succeed. And so Lilith takes that to heart and goes into the night market and takes a curse that's a shop, I guess. I wonder if that's gonna be an episode down the line where it's like we see that shop and like Eda wants to destroy it or something, or maybe it's already destroyed. We don't know. Because from there's some curses that actually no, there's not. Yeah, I think Eda's curse is the only curse, unless. Yeah, okay, it's. I can't think about it right now. Let's just continue. So Lilith admits though that she thought that the curse would only work on Eda for one day, and that it would only take away her magic. So Lilith pretty much was gonna do it. But then of course, just everything backfires because one, we know based off the show that this curse doesn't last for one day, but two, they show the fight, but then Ida forfeits it. Like she tells everyone that she refuses to fight her sister and that she gives Lilith the position, and she's like, covens aren't my, the Emperor's coven, that's your thing, that's not mine, so don't forget about me. But then as she walks away, she turns into the beast, and just everyone turns on her so quickly. Like, I'm just like, the coven guards start throwing rocks at her, and just everyone's just booing and saying, look at that thing, oh my goodness. I'm like, dang, that's rough for even the Boiling Isles. Like, come on. And so Lilith basically is like, in that moment, I wanted to feel like I wanted to feel terrible, but I was like, no, this was my sacrifice. I had to do it. It's like that's what her mindset. And then she was like, Bellos promised that he would heal her, but that was all a lie. So now she has a change of heart and wants to help Luz and King get Ida back, and she even gives Luz Albert so she can use it. And they go back, and before they go back, like, Luz takes one last look at the woods that she's in the human world, and so kind of signaling something's gonna go down, and pretty much, and yeah, it does. So like, they're going through the castle towards where Ida is gonna be petrified, but then Bellos shows up, and he captures Lilith and King, and he takes him up to the petrification area cage where Ida is, and the three of them are now locked in, and the three kind of like, Ida at first was ready to rip Lilith apart, but then King like steps in and tells her what happened. And meanwhile, back in the not was it the no, it wasn't the throne room. It was something weird that It was this weird chamber that Bellos was in. So he captures Luz, but he doesn't want. But he only wanted to talk to her, like, because it's a human on the Boiling Isles. But Luz doesn't want to talk. Luz doesn't want to talk. She whips out Albert, and she then tries to battle Bellos, but Bellos is like, okay, I'll play along. Like, I doubt he even used like 1% of his power, because the way he's so casual with it is like, okay. I mean, Luz for the most part holds her own. I mean, like, Bellos is like trying to hit her with a couple of spells, but like Luz is able to quickly whip out her glyphs and like block them. She even gets a good flight on Albert before she is nearly swallowed by the caterpillar thing from the intro. But she is able to destroy it, and then everything seems to be going. But then Bellos catches her again. But then Luz catches the Emperor off guard with an ice glyph, and it like fractures his mask, and we see this ominous creepy blue eye, but we don't see any more. And so he's like, I like your spirits, but try that again, and I will make you regret it. And so he tells Luz what all he wants is the portal, and that he's just doing the Titan's will. Again, I think it's just because of how many times he says the Titan's will. I wonder if there is the connection with him and the Titan, because maybe maybe he actually is able to talk to the Titan, and that the Titan is the one doing all of this, and he's just so blinded by it, or maybe he's just bullcrapping the whole thing, and that he's only doing it for his own bidding, because his origins are unknown. I mean, there's a lot of theories online, but for now his origins are unknown, so we really don't know what his plans are for this Day of Unity. So he gives Luz an offer. Basically, is if Luz gives him the portal, she is allowed to save Ida and Lilith and King, even though the crowd are like chanting like, let Ida go, and so and the petrification begins, and so Ida is slowly being turned into stone. So Luce knows that she has to make the tough call, and so she does. She gives Bellos the portal, and then Bellos takes it, and then allows Luce to go up to save him. And then while she's ascending towards the platform, she then turns to Bellos and says, "I may have lost, but so have you." And she then like slams Albert on the ground, and then it turns out that she stuck a bunch of fire glyphs onto the portal, and it destroys it. And so basically, she not only did she give up she really gave up the portal entirely, like to save Ida, Lilith, and King. Like, so now not only does she not have, not only is there not a portal, there's not a, it's gone for good. And like, so Ida Luce for now is stuck on the Blowing Isle. So we don't know how long that's gonna be. All we know is that Luce, for the most part, did the right thing, and that she, who knows what's gonna happen. So she goes up, destroys the petrification machine. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. The petrification was this. It was kind of like Bellos' staff a bit, because it was like very technological, with a couple of statues that looked very unpleasant. Yeah, and that's how the petrification was gonna work. But Luce is able to destroy the machine and save Ida, Lilith, and King, and the four of them fly off. And then while that's happening, Bellos comes and like announces to the people that the Titan had requested him to let go of Ida, and that her punishment would be that she would have to live out the rest of her life with the curse, and that she would no longer have magic. And then he like said, "Let this be a warning to all of those who wish to use wild magic," and that, yeah, basically giving them that warning, like, if you want to not join a coven, this is exactly what will happen to you. And it's like, he's trying to play it cool, but like you get a close up on his face, and he's like, he's definitely sinister. So the group gets back to the Owl House, and Luce is like, "Oh, I'll get you some elixir," but then Lilith's like, "Nah, we're way past elixir at this point." So Lilith then does something that she said that she should have done a long time ago, and that she casts a spell that splits the pain between the two. So now each of them have the curse. I don't know if it's half of the curse, so I mean, Ida turns back into her normal form, and then Lilith stays the same, but the only difference is they now, like, Lilith has a gray streak in her blue hair, and the two of them also share, like, they all have like a dark eye. So like they have their regular colored eye, but then they also have their dark eye. So, or not in like complete dark eye, only their like the ring, only their, I don't know what it's called, the ring that shows a color, it's black. So that's what it is. And from what we know, Ida is not able to do magic. I mean, I imagine she's able to use Albert's, but I don't know just how powerful her spells will be with Albert's, or maybe Albert. I gotta refresh myself on how Palisman work. But Lilith says her powers are weakened as well. Again, don't know just how weakened, because she just got the curse. But Luce offers to teach her what she knows, all 4 spells. Again, can't wait to see what other spells she'll learn down the line. And they have their nice somber moment looking up at the sky, and just, yeah, it ends. That's where it ends for them. And then you cut back to the Emperor's castle, and Bellos is sending this mysterious figure in a mask. There's a lot of theories on who this person could be. Could be someone that's going to be infiltrating the school as a student. Could be someone that's just this random spy. It could be a lot of things. We never know. So, but then they have the closing shot of Bellos looking up at his men who are building a portal with what remains of the portal that Luce destroyed. And so like there you have the portal, you have the door portal like sitting here, and then you have this ring that's basically a portal. So who knows what that's gonna be? All we know is that the Day of Unity is coming. So looks like gonna be on the clock sooner or later, and I wonder. Again, there's a lot of theories about what this can be, what all this can mean, and just overall what the storyline will be. But yeah, so yeah, that's the end of season 1. Again, the finale, I thought it was a solid finale. I mean, definitely not the best season finale I've seen in other TV shows, but for what it had to do, I thought it was pretty good. Again, just I know like people really like critique these to the max, like no mistakes or we're gonna crap on it. Like this is this is someone's first ever show that got off the ground. Like Dana Terrace beforehand, she helped animate shows and help out with shows in the past, but this is like her first show that she was able to create, and so it's not flawless, but you can't really give her you gotta cut her. I imagine you gotta cover some slack because the overall product is really really good, and she I mean, she's been working on this since 2016. She said that's when she first got this idea to do the show. So it's been nearly 5 years now since her idea first came. So Dana, if you're somehow watching this, congratulations on the first season and getting the show off the ground and just the enormous this for what you have accomplished both in terms of representation in the show and just an audience in general and all that. Yeah, so for now, that's the end of season 1. We'll see when season 2 begins. And yeah, see you guys. I caught it the outro.